mentioned how you had a workshop with some of your friends in creating the drafts before you sent them out to theaters. Within that circle of friends, did you find behaviors in your friends that you want to start including in the characters of Luther or Faust?
Oh, yeah, I mean, what I was trying to do when I would have different, I rarely use the same group of people twice because I wanted to hear different aspects of things. And the thing about Faustus that is fun to play, but is also tricky, is he has to encompass so many different modes in the play. He's got to be, you know, funny. He also has to be believable, romantic kind of lead. He has to be able to sing. And he has to have that really kind of, you know, what happens to him at the end of the play, which crushes him, is almost, you know, tragic, what happens to him. So he has to have all of those things. If I'm doing my job right, they're all both great opportunities and great challenges for actors.
Right,
I come at writing from acting, you know.
Right.
Again, I write roles that I would like to play. And there's something about, I mean, Hamlet, at least there's already kind of a groove worn for Hamlet. And I knew that anybody who could do the real Hamlet could easily do my little papier-mâché Hamlet. And I knew that, you know, that Luther is in some ways, he's a comic foil sometimes. I mean, in that scene in the Bunghole where we find out more about his emotion, you know, it's different, but the rest of the time he's kind of, him and Faustus are Felix and Oscar.
Yeah, that's a great way to put that.
But Faustus has to be this, you know, he has to be this really, you know, kaleidoscopic character. Like with Luther, he's either being described all the time as being angry or irritated or something like that, or he himself is constantly describing his emotional state through images of fire. It's almost burning and scalding, and that's something that I'm trying to give that to the actors so that they can, you know, hold on to that. Same thing with every time we see Faustus, he's indulging in something. He's either smoking a hookah, or he's drinking wine, or he's drinking beer, or he's talking about having had vodka, or he's popping pills, and that should tell you something about his, you know, his emotional, both his emotional state and kind of his physical. He's always running. But by occupying that large theatrical space, he sort of pulls the play along with him in his wake. And that's more or less what has happened, and that's what's been very interesting about seeing the play produced. This will be its, I guess, 9th production. Is seeing how that template reasserts itself in different ways. Every Faustus is different, but they're all very similar.
Well, I found that the woman kind of was the catalyst for certain things.
Yeah.
Each woman that you had became the catalyst for events that you did.
There were 2 things I wanted her to be. I wanted her to be, and she's called the eternal feminine. Very end of Goethe's Faust, there's this great thing about the eternal feminine drawing us on, you know, to perfection. And I thought, that's what she is. She's the eternal feminine. One woman and many guys. You know.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Actually, now it makes it seem so artsy-fartsy, but you know. But it's like you say, she's the outside world, and they're also the catalyst. Every time we see a woman in there, something is getting sparked to do something. Well, for what was going to happen to Faustus to happen to have import, this break with Helen is kind of the start. I always analogize it to, you know, at the top of Act 2 of Death of a Salesman, Howard comes in, Willie's boss, for that one scene, and it's all downhill from Willie after that, you know. And I wanted it to be the same thing here. Helen rejects him, and then, you know, eventually he gets these other rejections in the play until he's isolated and alone. So I knew that Helen had to be in the play. Okay. And I kind of wanted, I wanted some feminine energy in the play. I don't, you know, it's just different. It's better. And I thought, well, what can I do now that I have this resource here? And I thought the great thing about Gretchen is that she personalizes the indulgences controversy. It's no longer just this abstraction about people out there buying indulgence. We see her with her indulgence, and we see her misinterpreting, or, you know, parroting what she's heard about it. So it personalized. The reason I chose the Virgin Mary instead of Jesus is first of all, there's a tradition of the appearance of the Virgin Mary and Dolores Guadalupe everywhere. Second, I wanted to anticipate his, you know, when he sees the ghost. It's like now it's another parent, it's another mother, another father. You know, it's always these parents who are getting in his face about these things. I think this particular production is very well cast because of the music of the actors, and they complement each other. And it's just really, you know, this is a play that could be, you know, if it weren't attacked in the right way, it could be dry and academic. And it's been so gratifying to see that every production has found the juice in it, you know, and has found, has